Okay, so here goes episode 1 of my Thursday addition to the channel. I'm going to be reviewing a web series called Till Lease Do Us Part. This was a bad decision to do it by myself. There's a reason why I filmed with Ashley. She is the charismatic, funny one. Bear with me, please. It is a web series, if you have not heard of it, that is on the Gay Women's channel. Well, I don't know if they're going to be watching this. I hope it's okay with you that I do this. I definitely am gonna say all good things because I think it's fantastic. They are used to recapping things, and now I'm gonna recap something of theirs. So it opens up with basically the lease, and then it zooms out, and one of the girls is like, "You have to be kidding me. This lease that they signed is a 6-month lease, and so there's no way to get out of it unless there was a new roommate involved." And that's whenever they start talking about, you know, how they try to reach out and get a different roommate, that way one of them can move out. The only response they got was from a weird guy on Craigslist who uses a Hotmail account still. Like, who uses Hotmail? And they literally have like a minute conversation about how Hotmail is okay to use for junk email. I definitely thought if you have any nerdy side whatsoever, you actually found that conversation extremely hilarious. I do not have a Hotmail account, but I promise not to judge you if you do. So there's that. Before Micah comes to the final conclusion that they should just stay together, she kind of has this like devious smile. And she's like, you know, we could just live together here. You know, this is the only thing I can think of. She doesn't get a response immediately. So she plays this like little manipulative game, and she's like, oh, forget it, it's stupid. But the whole time she has, you know, a smile on her face knowing exactly what she's doing. Her ex reluctantly agrees to the idea, and she's like, you know, it's the only option. She's sitting next to her in bed, and she's like, well, I have a lot of other options in mind. And she's like, no, that's the only one, and kind of gets up. So good job to her for having the strength to do that, because not a lot of us would. So they're gonna live together even though they're broken up. Ensue the awkwardness. She's like, let's move your stuff to the den, which first off, freaking Canadians, I love you that you call it the den. I think here in the South we consider the den like the basement. Canadians are adorable in how they word things. It's just different to me. That's Southern colloquialism for ya. If I'm trying to mention them both, I say Micah and the other girl, or Micah and her ex, because I cannot remember her name to save my life, and I will learn it by the next recap. Back to the den. Micah's complaining that she has to move into the den. She's basically like, why do I have to move into the den? The fact that she's 7 months older than her. Micah just comes back with, are we sisters? Like, that logic doesn't work here. Lesbian logic. You know, speaking of age, that makes me think, what age are they supposed to be playing? I mean, I'm thinking, you know, 20-somethings. Joanne's basically like, listen, let's look back on the fact that I was the one that found this place. You would have picked a VW van in the park to live in. And Micah just comes back with, yeah, and saving a lot of money, which, you know, is true. I might resort to that whenever I start paying for more of my housing in Chicago. So Micah like cutely stomps off all mad. She grabs a bag of things herself and walks back out. And of course, it's a bag of Joanne's stuff, and is like, here, I was gonna wait until I lost 10 pounds, but here it is. That line right there was probably my favorite. Gay, straight, or anything in between, you want to look hot whenever you drop your ex's things off. I think I'm gonna pick a favorite line from each episode, and so I'm putting that as my favorite line. If we're gonna be living together, I can have stuff that reminds me of you. Which, that line right there is a huge contradiction. It just kind of, I think, reveals the character that Micah is, and that's not to say that she's an airhead or dumb. It's just she's so dramatic and caught up in this situation that the things she says sometimes make no sense. Oh my gosh, it's Mika, isn't it? Not Micah. Well, apparently I just can't get either of their names right, so I'm just gonna give up on that. She's disheartened to see that one of the things in there is something she bought for her on a trip. I'm curious as to what she got her on this vacation they were on. I don't know why, but I just want to know what it is. I feel like we would understand the relationship they once had if we knew what it was. And then she pulls out a Mickey Mouse thing and she's like, I didn't even get you this. Yes, but it smells like you. Joanne once again says, yeah, well, I live in this apartment, so the whole apartment smells like me. So then Mika just kind of whines and is like, well, there's nothing I can do about that now, is there? Joanne is just like, oh my god, what day of your cycle are you on? And that's when she pulls out the most entirely creepy app in this world. Really curious as to if it's real, because if it is, that's really creepy but really awesome. I wouldn't use it. She proceeds to open up an app that tracks her period of her girlfriend or ex-girlfriend. And obviously Mika feels completely violated. It was like, what the fuck? That is creepy that you have been tracking my period. And it's like, I don't even PMS. And Joanne's like, yeah, is that why you cried at a YouTube video of marching band, I think, playing in like a parade or something? She tears up a little bit and she was like, that was beautiful. PMSing or not, some of us are just more emotional creatures. And some of us legitimately cry at Hallmark commercials. I know a friend. Mika basically, you know, storms off to her new room. The character that Joanne plays is just too sweet not to care, even though she doesn't want to, which we've all been there before. And she walks over there and she's like, Meek. That just made my heart break at that moment because Meek is an adorable little nickname. It shows that obviously she still cares about her. And she's like, Meek. And she's like, I'm sorry. You know, pulling the PMS card, because that's never fun in a lesbian relationship. You know, she gets no response because she's still throwing her fit. She's like, okay, fine, I'm gonna go to my room. Mika picks up her phone and she dials a number and she's like, hey, I miss you. Whenever I first watched it, no, she's not, because the first thing that came to my mind was that she's calling like an ex. That's how it was written. It was supposed to, you know, confuse you. Turns out that Joanne is on the phone on the other end, so she's calling Joanne, not her ex. It's just this really bittersweet scene where, you know, she's on one side of the door and she's on the other. They're talking on the phone and she's just reassuring her that they can get through this. Then there has to be a comedic break because it was getting a little heavy there for a second and she's basically like, do you want to have sex? And she's like, no. You know, she tried. Mika tried. And she's about to say love you because, you know, out of habit. And then she's like, fuck shit. I'm sorry. She just like hangs up the phone in a panic and is like all flustered, throws the phone and just like walks to her room in embarrassment. Mika just smiles like, yes, she still loves me, and she's hanging on to that hope that they will be together again. And that's how it ends. I definitely want them to make multiple seasons of, if there's enough content there to make multiple seasons. So if you're wondering about my goals, I've been doing online shopping lately because I'm antisocial and walking into a store sometimes is just too much. And I was on Express, I know, fancy. And I really wanted some baseball tees because I was like, you know what, Chicago's gonna be cold. Baseball tees are like 3/4 length and I can wear them in the fall. Try to pull off the Ellen Page look, which no one can. I've come to terms with that. But the picture was just on the model, like from the front, like this. And so you didn't see the sequins and I was like, oh, that's really cute. I'm just gonna rock the gold sequin skull. You know, try to be edgy every once in a while. I think it's like lightning bolts on the other one. Rocking that Harry Potter style right there. I hope you enjoyed my first recap of Till Lease Do Us Part. It's really cool. It's a really good show. You should go watch it if you haven't already. And you should continue to watch mine, even though this may have been a little bit painful. But I thought I would try to recap this by myself because I'm normally the one that watches it. I think Ashley has maybe seen one. But yeah, I'm like, it's only 6 episodes. How horrible can it be for me talking by myself for 6 episodes? I'm just gonna gonna leave it at that. Bye.
That's all, folks.